a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
Hey everyone, it's Sam here. It's not going to be a usual content capable episode. A, because I got really sick over the week, so I haven't been able to create normal content, and that's why I sound a little bit funny. But B, because I wanted to chat before we get into the final few episodes about the future of content capable and a little bit about myself as well. You've heard me talk about myself on episodes of the podcast. This one's just going to be a little bit more in depth and a little bit more eye-opening, I think, about how things are going with me and where I am at in my journey with content capable and learning about other people's passions. So you might have noticed over the past few months to the last year, basically, that content capable hasn't been strictly about adulting. And it's been a weird conversation that I've had to have both with myself and with, the Deus Ex Media team and everyone else about what does this podcast actually mean and what is it actually doing? And we all kind of came to the conclusion at the same time that Content Capable isn't really an adulting podcast. It's about adults doing awesome things, so I still think it kind of loosely fits in that category, but it's more an interviews podcast. I sit down with someone and I chat with them and I ask them questions about what they're passionate about. And that's the direction that Content Capable has taken in the last year. We considered trying to refocus the podcast, but I think that is probably the best way to describe Content Capable, what I just said, rather than, trying to do a full rebrand and, remind listeners that, we're this, not this, in bits and pieces. So I've made the decision that we're going to keep going in the format that we're going. And I probably will rephrase some of the stuff you'll see when our new trailers for 2023 drop. You'll be a little bit more about chatting to people rather than adulting. The branding probably will still be around that a little bit. I do love my logo art, so I don't want it to go. Huge thank you to my lovely artist who did that one for me. It's been a very fascinating time for the podcast. We've spoken to a record number of people this year. It almost feels like Spotify Wrapped. I'm doing it at the moment. But we've spoken to a whole bunch of amazing people, and it's been such fun to chat to them and really understand what their passions are. We've spoken to, teachers and people interested in personal finance and mothers and a whole range of other things, as well as your favorite Deus Ex Media creators, and some other friends that I've made along the way. I really enjoy producing this year's season. It's probably been one of the most satisfying projects I've done this year. And it's been really fun to chat to such a wide variety of people and really get their perspective on what's going on. It's been absolutely amazing, and it's been such a pleasure to be a part of such an amazing community who are so interested in listening and finding out about what people are passionate about and what they want to talk about. Going into next year, we'll have even more amazing guests. I've already started trying to organize some guests for next year. It's going to be super amazing. I'm really excited. There are such amazing people out there. As a reminder, if you do have a guest idea or want to come on the podcast yourself, if you think you've got something really interesting to chat about, please hit me up either on my Instagram DMs or my Twitter DMs. That's content, the letter N, capable on there, or contentandcapablepod@gmail.com. They are really great spots to get in contact with me. I'll usually get back to you fairly soon. If you've got guest ideas, share them there. Otherwise, if you are a patron of my Cabbages of the Eldest Gods or the restricted section, make sure you can just message me on Discord as well. Or I don't know, publicly say it. I'm more than happy to explain my thought process behind picking guests. It's a lot to do with what's interesting and what I find I'm going to be really able to connect with and have an hour and a half, hour long conversation with. It's very very subjective, unfortunately. There's no real scientific process laying out why exactly I choose a guest and why I might not choose a guest. But yeah, I'm really excited with the direction that the podcast is going. I've spoken to my lovely fellow creators at Deus Ex Media about this, and they are very excited about it as well. A huge shout out to especially Alex and Zach from My Cabbages. They've come on a whole bunch of episodes this year, just filling in A, some gaps, but B, also really adding, more content to their experience and speaking about such a wide variety of topics that I wouldn't have even thought of. So it's been so fun chatting to them. Also, huge shout out to Christina, Charlie, and Taylor, who have all been really helping me in the background sort things out and putting up with my crazy antics. And on top of that, especially a huge thank you to Jason, who is just such a rock of support for everyone. It's really amazing. This is not the finale episode. If this is starting to sound like a finale episode, I just kind of went on a rant thanking people. But we're getting close to the end of the season if you haven't seen. Just to let you all know exactly what's going on. So from the 26th of December till the 13th of February, I'm going to be taking my summer break. Remember, I'm in Australia. Seasons are opposite. I've also got a whole bunch of family events and bits and pieces. So there will be an episode on the 19th of December, and there'll be no episodes after that until February. I'm looking at coming back around Valentine's Day. It really depends. There are some personal things going on that I have to also manage over the 2 months, so there is a possibility that the break will go longer, but I will make sure I communicate that to everyone as clearly as possible, because there's lots of crazy things happening. Speaking of my personal life, I thought I would share a little bit of an update in my journey. So, I have said a lot on this podcast that I am studying a degree in communications, majoring in journalism. I finished that degree the other week. I had my graduation ceremony just after the podcast goes on break, but I got my final grades back the other week. I've passed all my subjects. I am eligible for my graduation. I basically have the degree in hand at this point in time. And yeah, I have been applying for jobs and trying to get into the workforce as fast as I can. So it's been such a fun time these last 3 years at my university, learning everything about journalism. But then also, on top of that, the podcast has really augmented my time at university. Really helped me scratch that itch to do like really great long form interviews with really awesome guests. So it's been such a fun balance and dichotomy. I may have also mentioned that I've been unemployed for a little while, mostly to focus on my studies, but also there was just a couple of things that happened in my old workplace that meant that I wasn't working there anymore. Nothing bad, no hate towards them either. I ended up not working for them for the last 6 months of the year. I have been applying for jobs like a crazy person for the last 6 months. And I wanted to quickly chat about the job application process, because I feel like people don't talk about this very much. So a lot of job applications are online now, and it's usually a form you fill out. For Australia, there are like diversity requirements and things like that, especially in the media. So they do ask you a couple of diversity questions. Are you Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander? Do you identify as LGBT, and you do a whole bunch of other bits and pieces. But then on top of that, they ask you about your motivations for applying. They ask you for your resume. They often ask you for a cover letter. And particular in media industries, they also ask for a show reel or examples of your work. So I have been applying for all these jobs and sending examples of my work, their best fit, and things like that. It's been very stressful, because I think I've applied for like 30 or 40 jobs in the last 6 months. And a lot of them to my favorite place for journalism still. I will still say it's my favorite. It's the ABC. I applied for a lot of jobs there, got a lot of rejections. Most of them came in the form of email. I submit the application, the application deadline would pass, and then I would wait a few weeks, and then I would get an email saying, hey, the process was super competitive, unfortunately you didn't get in this time. A lot of it, my critique would be, please communicate what pay and experience level that you require for your positions, because I didn't know, and I got someone mad at me, sent me a rather angry email, but like also really supportive and helpful about the fact that I had applied for a job that was well over my experience level. But that was really fun, really interesting time. Over the last 3 months, I've been applying for jobs in other areas other than the ABC. I wanted to focus on the ABC first to see whether I could get in. It was pretty much the same. It's very fascinating to see who uses the same kind of software to do their job applications. So like there was like a few commercial companies that were using the same platform, but I had to create a new login for the same platform to apply for these jobs. And then all like the technical difficulties. So like there was one company I was applying for jobs for, and I won't name them because it's not their fault. But if I submitted 3 applications, my first application would be deleted and just it would be in the void somewhere. It was very weird. And lots of things like that. I got lots of phone calls, people asking me questions, going, hey, what's going on? We'd love to, chat to you a bit further about this position. And lots of raised hopes and then no responses, which is mildly terrifying as someone who really does want a job. But yeah, I then, of all things, I didn't use Seek to apply for jobs. I don't know whether Seek's a thing that exists outside of Australia, but I applied using Seek for a couple of jobs for some independent regional newspapers because I was trying to broaden my search even more. I started doing radio jobs and just kept broadening it as more declines came in, and I got to some regional jobs. I actually don't care where in the country I work, just somewhere in Australia at this point in time, and I applied for a job in Victoria that's looking very promising. I've had lots of phone calls with them. They've had a couple of video meetings with me, and I'm quite close to finishing up discussions with them about exactly what employment with them may look like and then make a decision. You'll probably see a decision made when I announce it publicly on Twitter or Instagram at sam.the.journalist on Instagram and samobjournalist on Twitter. Make sure you follow me there for most of my personal updates. I'm not tweeting a lot there at the moment because my brain hurts. I've been sick this week. But yeah, go check it out. It's been, I kind of try to share my thought processes there. But yeah, I'm in the middle of discussing with them exactly what working with them looks like. To try to make a decision on whether I want to work there. I've also been to a lot of networking nights as well. So I went to a really interesting one about flood reporting and speaking about the way that we talk about floods here in Australia. Very, very fascinating. Met some really interesting radio producers and hosts and some digital journalists, and they were really lovely to talk to. I also went to a diversity networking night where we talked about what does reporting diversity look like? And as a straight white man, it's really important for me to get the diversity stuff right. So I was taking lots of notes to make sure that I'm just doing things right, because it's very easy to get things wrong. But it also actually helped me in the podcast to make sure I'm putting more diverse talent in as my guests and bits and pieces. So hopefully we'll see even more diversity next year. That was really interesting. I spoke to some really amazing community and independent and plus ABC journalists as well. And it was very, very fascinating and really interesting to talk to them about their careers and their passions and why they were at the event. It was so much fun. They helped me a lot in understanding where my application needed to go. Also, then I sent a few emails to people to try to see if I could get some work with them. Those ones have run their course, I think, although there's one I'm waiting on at the moment. So it'd be very fascinating to see what happens there. But yeah, I've been really enjoying this job application process. It's incredibly stressful and I don't recommend it for a lot of people, but it's been a lot of fun and I've really, really enjoyed it. What does this mean for the future? Not a lot. I just thought I would personally update my journey of applying for jobs. It's been incredibly roller coastery, I would have to say. It's ups and downs and lefts and rights and craziness and arguments and let's just rethink everything all at once. And what if I just scrap my resume and try something else? And how should I communicate this? Should I be doing it this way? Should I be doing it that way? So many questions, not enough answers. It's been a roller coaster, and I've really enjoyed the process. I think it's really taught me a lot about what I want out of a job and what I want out of a career in journalism, which is where I'm hoping to go. But yeah, I will hopefully have some really exciting news in the next few weeks about all of that, but we'll see. I've got to make decisions and I've got to go think things through first because I've got to do my due diligence. But yeah, I think that's it. This feels like a really bad voicemail. Maybe I should edit it in the style of a voicemail. We'll find out when editing Sam 5 minutes from now has to go through and edit the 15 minutes of audio of me rambling about stuff. But yeah, this has been so much fun. I will be back next week with a guest. I will make sure that I have a guest to speak to. It's going to be a lot of fun these last 2 episodes. We've got such interesting things to talk about. I can't wait to share with you the people that I'm speaking with. But yeah, if you've got any suggestions for content-capable episodes, make sure you send me a DM or an email. If you've got any ideas for the podcast, or you might know that, that there's something that you want me to improve on, please give me all the feedback. I really love feedback. Please also leave a review wherever you listen to the podcast. The more reviews you get, the higher it is on the platform that you listen to. It means that more people get to listen to the conversations we get to have. So yeah, please leave a review. And thank you so much for listening this year. It's been so much fun. If you're just tuning in now trying to figure out whether this is a content capable is for you, I suggest going back a few episodes and listening to those ones. But thank you so much for listening. I'll be back next week with our last 2 episodes of the year, and then we'll go on break. Woo!
Thank you for listening to Content and Capable. You can follow the podcast socials at Content, the letter N, Capable on Instagram and Twitter. You can send an email to contentandcapablepod@gmail.com. Please give us a review on iTunes or Spotify to help others know that you love this podcast. The art was done by Opia. You can follow them at opia_art_. Opia is spelled O-P-I-A. Feel free to message them about making art for your project. Our music was written, recorded, and edited by Isabel Strauss-Riggs. You can find Izzy at Kane_I, that's I is in the body part, on Instagram and Twitter, and on YouTube at KaneI with no spaces. Feel free to message her about making music for your project or editing your podcast.
What's up, potheads? It's me, your host, Christina. Welcome to the restricted section. No, we're not in Hogwarts. It's like a metaphor. Do you get it? Like, we're raunchy, and we get drunk, and we make sex jokes, and we have an all spoilers all the time policy. So, it's like the restricted section. I've been told that explaining jokes makes them funnier. If you've ever wondered how the Marauders map actually works, if you've ever thought that maybe Snape sometimes wears jeans, if you've ever thought that Draco and Harry are for sure in love, they're for sure in love. If you've ever had a hard time deciding who you'd rather bang, Bill or Charlie, obviously Charlie, then this podcast is for you. You don't even have to do the reading, we'll do it for you. Catch the Restricted Section every Wednesday wherever you get your podcasts, and find us online at Restricted Section Pod.
Content and Capable is a podcast all about answering the question, how do you adult? Don't forget to rate and review, and I will see you next Monday for another episode.
Dave X Media.